imagine packing for like the most important journey of your life.
Yeah.
But you've been told to bring absolutely nothing. So you empty your pockets, leave your bags, and just stand there with totally empty hands.
Right.
And then you pause and think, wait, how do I actually take the first step? Like, what tool do I really need to make this work? Today's deep dive explores a profoundly reflective spiritual text that tackles exactly this. Our mission today is to unpack the core paradox here. How do you achieve a massive goal when your primary tool, which is your intellect, is the very thing standing in your way?
Yeah, it's a fascinating tension, honestly. The text you brought us today is a Shabad, so a sacred Sikh hymn written by Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and it's actually set to Rag Bilaaval.
Which is a specific musical framework, correct?
Exactly, yeah. It's a traditional framework designed specifically to evoke deep joy and relief. But the text starts with this incredibly daunting premise. It describes this act of total surrender, offering body, mind, wealth, absolutely everything to the divine.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, usually people think total surrender is the finish line of a spiritual journey.
Right, exactly. But here, it's literally just the starting line. The author immediately pivots to this deep reflection on maat, which basically means wisdom or understanding.
Oh,
He's asking, what is the wisdom by which I may come to chant the name of the Lord?
but wait, that creates a massive contradiction, doesn't it? I mean, if you've just surrendered everything, including your own mind, why are you immediately searching for, like, an intellectual tool to do the heavy lifting?
Yeah, that's the paradox right there.
Because we use our common sense and cleverness to survive every single day.
Yeah.
So how can the text claim they are just entirely insufficient here?
Well, because the intellect is fundamentally designed to, categorize, control, and solve problems. But a spiritual connection isn't a puzzle to be solved.
Right. It's completely different.
It requires absolute vulnerability. I mean, you can't use a tool built for control to achieve a state of surrender. And the author is incredibly self-aware about this.
How so?
Well, he writes about trying, several methods, strategizing, using human intelligence. But he ultimately concludes, I have neither intelligence, wisdom, common sense, nor cleverness.
I struggle with that, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if I completely abandon my intellect and just stop trying to figure it out, don't I just become passive?
That's the fear, yeah.
Like, how do I actually make progress without just, sitting in a dark room doing absolutely nothing?
And that is exactly the despair the human mind hits when its favorite tool stops working. But that's why the text provides a really specific twofold solution. First, it introduces the Saadh Sangat.
Which is the company of the holy, right?
Yes, exactly. The mind isn't saved through frantic overthinking and isolation. It's saved through shared resonance.
So community is basically the antidote to that isolation.
Precisely. When you're around others who are also seeking that truth, their collective focus pulls you out of your own intellectual loop. It completely shifts your energy.
That makes so much sense. It stops being just you wrestling your own brain. But there's a second part to the solution in the text, right? Focusing on divine grace.
Yeah, it says, I meet you only if you lead me to meet you.
Wow. That reminds me of trying to catch the wind in a net. Like, your intellect is the net. You keep weaving it tighter and tighter, trying to force a result, but you catch absolutely nothing.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah, grace is realizing you just need to drop the net and build a sail.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. You aren't forcing the connection. You are simply making yourself available to it. It completely removes that exhausting burden of performance.
And the text uses these stunning poetic images to describe what that availability actually feels like.
Oh, it does,
It
yes.
says that by nurturing hope and begging from God, just by gazing upon the divine, the courtyard of the heart is embellished. I mean, it transforms from this chaotic battleground of thoughts into a beautifully adorned, welcoming space.
Which really brings us to the culmination of all this surrender. When the intellectual striving stops and that grace is received, the text describes reaching prabh darshan, the blessed vision of God.
Right, that ultimate peace.
Exactly. It says, my eyes are content. As Guru Nanak says in the closing lines, it's in this moment that a human life becomes truly fruitful and rewarding. It's just absolute peace.
So think back to that image of standing there with completely empty hands, wondering what tool you need to take the next step.
Yeah.
If the highest form of spiritual fulfillment in this text requires completely letting go of your own cleverness and common sense, in what other areas of your life might your own intellect and overthinking be the very things blocking you from true contentment?